Hi, I'm Holly Williams. Welcome to Holistic Life. Hey friends, welcome to Holistic Life. I'm Holly, and today we're going to do 5 simple postures moving through the pelvis and kind of understand the dimensions that you have in movement just by moving the pelvis. So the pelvis can actually follow the same laws as your spine can. And by that I mean the movements of the spine can also translate into the pelvis. So we have a forward and back, side to side, we have twists, and we also have lengthening and condensing. All of those movements can be done in the spine, and they can also be done in the pelvis. All you're going to need is yourself and your mat. So if you're ready to get started, let's go. We are going to start on our backs in constructive rest. We are going to move all the way up into a couple standing postures, so don't worry about needing anything other than just you and yourself. So let's go ahead and roll on back to our backs, however you want to get there. Make yourself comfortable for just a second. Maybe take a couple big deep breaths. You can take a nap if you want to. And then just come back. It's fine. We will go into 5 postures, but we will also see how those postures can turn into other postures just by adding the simple movements of the spine and the pelvis. As you're ready, while we're lying here with our knees bent and our feet on the floor, feeling the backside of the pelvis, the sacrum on the floor, maybe notice how the backside of the pelvis feels on the floor. That's that lower back region where the spine and the pelvis join together at that fused bunching of vertebrae that leads into the tail. And let's practice some pelvic tilts. So we're going to tilt the pelvis forward and we're going to tilt it backwards. If you would like, you can place the hands here on either side of the hips and just gently tilt the pelvis forward. You can even use your hands to help you kind of tilt the whole thing forward. As you tilt forward, notice that maybe your lower back raises off the floor, maybe your belly lifts just a little bit, and you can really feel the tail in the floor. And then let's tilt the pelvis back. So we're tilting it back. You may even notice that your feet press a little bit into the floor. Your belly goes in towards the floor and the spine. Your pubic bone even lifts just a little bit. So maybe with your breath, you want to tilt forward, back, inhaling forward, exhaling back, just noticing the tilt in your pelvis, forward and back. You can even let these get into other movements. You could extend this into a wheel pose. We're not going to take wheel, but you're more than welcome to take this into a wheel pose. You could take the tilt back into a bridge posture. So tilting that pelvis backwards, maybe that allows the tail to lift, the feet to press down into the floor, and here we are in a bridge. Letting the pelvis come back down, tilting the pelvis forward, the belly raises. And go ahead and rest for just a breath or two. Now adding lateral movements. This one's a little bit more subtle, but we can still do it here on the floor. So maybe placing the hands on either side of the hips and just kind of swaying the hips from side to side. Feeling weight in the feet to allow the tail to kind of wag back and forth. It just feels really nice. Real subtle movements, just adding lengthening and compression into the side bodies. Coming here to stillness. Let's inhale, bring the knees into the chest, and we're going to allow the pelvis to twist. So keeping the knees here in the chest, maybe bring the hands to the pelvis or to the hips if you would like, and then allow that pelvis to turn over to one side. The knees will follow, and here we are in a little gentle twist. You can keep the shoulders on the floor if you would like. You can put a prop underneath the knees if the twist is a little too intense. That's totally fine. Support your body where it needs to be supported. I don't want you to feel any pinching or discomfort in any of my practices. So if you need pillows, blankets, stuff to put under you, please do. It's much more comfortable that way anyway. But if you can make it all the way to the floor, that's fine too. So little bit of a twist here to one side, and we are going to go to the other side. So with your breath, allow the knees to come back into the chest, feel the back of the pelvis, the sacrum roll across the floor, and allow the knees and the pelvis to twist to the other side. Again, if you need support under the knees over here, please do. Blanket, pillow, rolled up towel, if you have blocks, anything you need. Just allowing the tissues to unwind, allowing tightness to let go. And it's starting to rain. I hope it doesn't get too loud. We are in hurricane season. Hurricane Laura just swept the coast. As we're ready, let's let the sacrum and the back of the pelvis roll back to the floor. Gently hug the knees into the chest. And let's go ahead and extend the legs all the way out. Extend the arms overhead. And let's do a nice morning stretch. Inhaling, stretching through the legs, stretching through the arms. Just, maybe going out to a 6-point star. Just really feeling length in the entire body. And let it go. And let's move into our second posture. So we're going to go all the way from here into a quadruped or a table. So to get there gently, let's take the knees, bring them into the chest. Let's rock them side to side, and we'll come over to a side. Gently press that top arm into the floor. We'll come up to seated. And then just very, very easy, very gently coming into a tabletop position. The best way you probably know to feel the pelvis in a tabletop is a simple cat-cow. Pretty basic yoga stuff. So let's do that. We'll do a simple cat-cow. Let's set up our foundation first. So knees are under the hips. Tops of the feet are nice and active, maybe pressing just a little bit into the tops of the feet. Hands are nice and wide, fingers are spread about a half step in front of the shoulders. We don't want to be right on top of the hands because our wrists can get kind of tender. And our hands are about shoulders distance apart. And one more thing, let's try not to lock out those elbows, pressing them forward. Let's just keep a nice, juicy, bendy elbow to support our weight, kind of like a trampoline. So if you want to wiggle your tail a little bit, some lateral movements here in the pelvis, you may. And we're going to move into some cat-cow. So just noticing how the pelvis tilts. We're We're going to inhale, starting from the pelvis, letting it tilt forward. The tail will lift, the belly will go down, and just a gentle lift in the chin. Maybe breathe here for a couple breaths, feeling how we can release tension. And then going the opposite way, so allowing the pelvis to tilt backwards, the tail will go down, the pelvis will tilt back, the pubic bone will come forward. Maybe bringing the chin to the chest. And breathing here for a couple breaths. We're probably used to breathing one breath in between cat-cow, and there's plenty of goodness that comes out of that, but sometimes just breathing in one single posture really helps us feel what muscles and bones are in alignment and which ones might not be. So let's tilt it forward again, just tilting the pelvis forward. The tail will lift, maybe lifting in the chin just a little bit, and then exhaling it back. The tail will draw down, the pubic bone will come towards the chest, and then let's come here in a neutral table. Now let's wag the tail. So imagining you got a tail back there. We'll just wag it back and forth. Very gentle, maybe with the breath, keeping a nice foundation in the feet, nice foundation in the knees. You can allow this tail wag to get as big or small as you would like. You could even allow the hips to dip down onto the floor if you would like. Or maybe even adding some dimension by reaching a leg out. Just noticing how we can add movement into simple postures. Or you can keep it real simple and just bring hip and ear towards each other, hip and ear away from each other, and on the other side. If at any time your arms get real tired and your wrists get tired, you can always drop down to your elbows and do the same exact movements. Now maybe doing some twists here. We can extend back through a leg, bring the toes onto the floor, and then allow that pelvis to twist a little bit. And now we're in a supported triangle. So we have one half of the pelvis bearing weight down into the ground, and we have the other half of the pelvis is opening forward. So we have a little bit of a twist here in the pelvis. And then let's bring it down. And we'll go to the other side. So allowing the pelvis to tilt to the side. One side of the pelvis is rooted through your grounded knee, and the other one is shining forward. Taking a couple breaths here. You can always lengthen through an arm if you would like to, really lengthen back through that leg. I always feel a really nice, I don't want to call it a pull, but a stretch or a lengthening right here in the side of my pelvis when I really reach through that leg. And even when I reach through this top arm, oh, that feels good. Nice stretch in the side body. And let's spiral it back. And then a just nice lengthening. So inhaling, allowing the crown to reach forward, and exhaling, allowing the tail to reach back. Inhaling, pressing the feet into the floor, pressing the crown of the head forward, and exhale. The hands go down to support us so the tail can reach back. And coming here in a neutral table. Our next posture, we're going to move into a downward facing dog. Now this is one of those postures that when you sit in it for a while, your arms can get very tired. So again, if you need to come out of it, please do. You can just drop back down here to table. You can go, again, drop down to your elbows. You can always just go to a hero's or a seated posture to, let your arms take a little bit of a rest. So we won't spend too long in a down dog because I know it can get exhausting. Let's tuck the toes underneath. We'll inhale, press into the toes, let the crown of the head come forward. And then we'll exhale, press the hands down, press the toes down, let the tail reach up, and now we're in a down dog. Nice healthy bend in the knees. It does not matter if your heels come to the floor. That does not matter. Heels can be as high up off the ground as you would like them to be. Pressing the floor away. The pelvis is tilted forward. The tail is reaching high. Knees are nice and bent. Now, in this posture, if you notice, if you tilt your pelvis backwards, you might end up coming forward a little bit. You can also, if you tilt your pelvis backwards, you might be able to lengthen through the heels a little bit, but I find that very uncomfortable. So if you want to add some forward and backwards tilts in the pelvis, just play a little bit. Tilting it back, tilting it forward. You might even notice if you tilt it back, you naturally feel like you want to come into a plank. That's okay. And then wagging the tail, adding dimension to a down dog. You can always, this might even turn into a three-legged dog. Adding some twists, whatever feels nice. Fixing the shirt. But yeah, a nice twist. What you can do is you press into one foot, raise the other foot, and really open up those hips. Just a little bit of play here. Whatever is comfortable, whatever is available to you. And then let's come back down to the knees. Stretch out those wrists. Roll them around, forward and back, a couple circles, do a little dance. And let's move into our fourth posture. We're going to stand. So let's go ahead and make our way into a standing. Let's go into a down dog. Press into the hands, press into the feet, nice bendy knees. Let's look forward between the hands, nice big juicy bendy knees. Step the hands or step the feet forward. Maybe we're here in a forward fold. And then very gently, let's tilt that pelvis backwards. It's going to bring the belly in. It's going to raise up through the spine. And now we're here in standing. So we're going to do standing and then Trikonasana, and then that'll be our 5 postures. So here in Tadasana, all of these are really just ways for us to notice the bony structures in the hips and the pelvis and how we can kind of add movement and dimension into these very simple postures that can kind of broaden your perspective of the abilities of your body, but it can also kind of grow your own yoga practice. So you can pick one posture and move all kinds of ways within that one posture. So here in Tadasana, nice juicy knees, nice bend in the knees. You can face me if you would like, but all we're going to do just here in standing, we're just going to do simple pelvic tilts. So tilting the pelvis forward, maybe you notice the tail comes up and then the tail goes down as the pelvis tilts backwards. So the tail rises as the pelvis tilts forward and the tail falls as the pelvis tilts back. You can initiate these movements with the hands. Or you can always have hands up here, out here, 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 anywhere. You can have your hands anywhere you would like. You can have them here. So forward and back tilts. There are some postures that can come out of that too. So if you notice a forward tilt, you may feel inclined to do a forward fold. And then tilt the pelvis backwards. That may make you want to stand up, and then maybe even a little bit of a back bend. Forward. We can even flow into a chair, a little back bend. Forward and back. Play in that as long as you would like. Now we have lateral movements. We can do crescents. If the arms come all the way up, we can lengthen up and then allow us to bend to either side. Really feeling length in this side body and condensing in this side. You can initiate movement with the hands. That always feels really nice, really sinking weight into each hip, feeling length and condensing. And then some twists, nice gentle twists. So taking the hands on either side of the hips, let's initiate a twist from our pelvis. So use your hands first. So move the hands. So maybe press this one back and press this one forward. That's gonna make you wanna turn just a little bit. Keep a nice foundation in the feet, all four corners, nice juicy knees so we can absorb any movement. And then let's twist back through center and to the other side. Using your hands to move the hips, kind of like you're shaking your tail, but using your hands to do it. So play in that as long as you would like, and then let's extend. So we'll extend up, really lengthen up through the spine, press the feet down, press the ceiling away, and exhale. Let's bring the arms down. All right, posture number 5. We're gonna go into triangle. And we'll do both sides so that we can feel everything. So my favorite way to get into Trikonasana, nice easy way, we can go wide-legged here. So I'm like kind of in the middle of my mat. I like to step 1 foot forward, 1 step back, and this foot is facing this way. So that means this pelvic half is facing this way, and this pelvic half is facing this way. Okay, so these toes are facing you, and these toes are facing yonder. So we have a nice open pelvis. Let's bring the arms out. Reach them either way. Can already feel a slight turning in my spine. So this is natural middle, and we're turning gently so the arms can be parallel with our mat. And we're going to just very gently bring this arm down to the leg and reach up through this arm. Now this arm can do any manner of things. Anything but coming on top of the knee. So you can go here if this is enough sensation for you. You can allow the hand to come down maybe on top of the shin. Letting this front of the heart to continue facing forward. Feeling that nice sensation on the inside of the thigh. Feeling weight in this side of the hip as it goes down into the foot. We also want to feel weight in this front foot. So we want to feel equal weight pressing down into both of these feet. If you want a little bit more stretch, you can go down as far as you would like, maybe on top of the foot, maybe even down to the floor, if that's available and comfortable. If that's not available and comfortable, just stay here where it feels safe. You can, again, extend through this arm. It's not necessary. You can also bind. And very slowly, let's come out of this. So, I always like to do a bend in this front knee and press my hand into that knee, lengthen up, and exhale it down. All right, let's change sides. So step out of it however you would like. You can flow if you would like. You don't have to if you don't want to. And coming back here to our nice center. Both feet are right in the middle of my mat. I'm gonna step 1 foot back. I'm sorry, 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. So now this foot is facing that way and this foot is facing that way. My spine is here in the center and we're gonna twist it gently forward. So now this hip I can feel is pointing out this way and this hip is pointing this way. Ooh, a train's coming. All right, let's lengthen up through the arms, reach them out each way, and go ahead and tilt. Now you don't have to like push this hip out. We're just doing a gentle pelvic tilt to a side, bringing this hand either on top of the thigh if that's comfortable, or down to the shin. You can always have a chair here too, that's nice. Or if you have blocks, you can have a block there. Feeling a nice stretch on the inside of the thigh. Nice juicy knees. We don't want those knees to lock out. And feeling weight equally between this leg, from the pelvis down to that foot, and from the pelvis down to this foot. You can go all the way down if you would like, if it's comfortable and available. If not, just stay here. Keeping the heart forward. You can take a bind if you would like. Back of the hand placed on the small of the back. And let's unwind. Let's go ahead and bend this front knee, press into that leg, lengthen up, and exhale. All right. Little wiggle in the legs, wiggle, 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 wiggle. And let's get back to the floor, very gently. However you'd like to get there. Your body, your movements, your practice. Just find your way there. Taking a nice big breath. Feeling how the hips moved through these postures. Maybe this gave you a little bit of insight on the dimension of just regular postures and how you can flow into other postures using the same simple practices. Check out my yoga anatomy video about the pelvis, showing you all the little bony structures and connections and how it bears weight. And also check out the breath in the pelvis video so we can learn how to relax, feel, and root into our sitting postures. Even standing postures, honestly. Check me out on Instagram at Holistic Life. And I hope this practice allows your life to be a little bit more holistic too. Have an excellent day. I hope your pelvis feels awesome. See you later, friends.